Hey friends, how you doing? I hope your day is going well. This video is about the pronunciation of ED at the end of words. This is something that I hear students make mistakes with a lot in class, but it's also something that has some really clear rules about when we use its different pronunciations. So, let's get started. I think a good place to start would be just to quickly review some of the grammar of when and how we use ED. This first example is, I live in Texas. This is now. It's true. It's a fact. But if I change this sentence, when I was a kid, I lived in California. I don't live in California now. This is something that was true in the past. I watch football on Sundays. This is a habit. It's something I do again and again and again and again. I did it last Sunday. I'm going to do it next Sunday. I'm not doing it right now, but it's something that I do a lot. Last night, I watched a movie. Now here it's one time in the past. It's done. It's over. I'm not doing it right now. I need a new car. My car's broken. It's at the mechanic. So I need a new one. It's just a fact. Yesterday, because my car was broken, I needed a ride to school. That was one time in the past. So a lot of the time when we use this ED, like in lived, watched, or needed, we're just putting our verb into the past. We use this ED with some adjectives sometimes. So for example, if you're watching TV and the TV is very interesting, then you are interested. If the TV show is boring, you're bored. If the TV show is exciting, you're excited. Here's the problem. I gave you three examples, lived, watched, and needed. The problem is that each of these words has ED at the end, ED, 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 but listen to the pronunciation. Lived, watched, needed. There's really three different pronunciations of ED. Sometimes it just sounds like D, like in lived. Sometimes it's T, like in watched. And sometimes it's id, like in needed. This might be confusing, but there's actually some easy rules to help us know when to say duh, when to say t, and when to say id. So here's the answer. To give you the answer, we need to think about voicing, right? These are kind of grammar words or linguistic words. The way I like to think about it is with a phone, right? Your phone can be on vibrate sometimes, and sometimes it's on silent. Well, really, the same thing happens with your voice. If you take your hand and put your hand right here and say that first sound in the word vibrate. Do you feel your voice vibrate? It shakes a little bit right here when you say v. If you go to silent, it doesn't. That's because there's some letters like z and d that are voiced. Again, put your hand here and say z, z, z. Now say s, s, s. Feel the difference? Put your hand here and say d, 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 d. You feel it vibrate. When you put your hand here and say t, 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 it doesn't vibrate. So, let's look at some verbs. Here's the rule. We need to find the last sound in the verb. In the word live, the last sound is v, right? We have this letter E at the end, but it's not livy, right? The E is silent. So we don't need to think about that sound. We need to think about the last sound we say, which is v. In watch, the last sound is ch, ch, watch. Now we decide if that sound is voiced or not. So let's put our hand right here and say v, 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 v. And we realize that sound is voiced because we feel it vibrate. When we say ch, 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 we realize it's unvoiced because it doesn't vibrate when we say ch. Next, if the last sound is voiced, like v, then the ed sound is pronounced with just the sound d. Live, lived. Live, lived. And notice it's still one sound, one syllable. Live, lived. Live, lived. We just added an extra d to the end. Look at watch, right? So the ch is unvoiced. If the last sound is unvoiced, ed is pronounced t. So here we have watch, watched, watch, watched. Still one syllable. Watch, watched. Watch, watched. Let's practice. We already did live and watch, right? And we said that live is pronounced lived in the past. Watch becomes watched. Let's keep going. Show. The last sound is O, O. And we feel it vibrate. So we know that the pronunciation is showed. Showed. He showed me a picture. Next. Help. The last sound is p, and it's not voiced. It's more like the silent phone. So it's helped. Helped. Like. Liked. Try. I. That one vibrates. Try. Tried. Feeling good? Let's do one more rule. If the last sound of the word is t or d, now we add the extra syllable and say something like id. Right here we have need and duh. Even though it's voiced, we don't want to say needed. That just sounds weird. So we add an extra sound when we say ed and say needed, needed. Want ends with a t sound. So we go from want to wanted, wanted. Notice here we're adding an extra syllable. It's need, needed. Want, wanted. Let's do some more practice. We've already done lived, showed, tried for our duh sounds. We did watched, helped, and liked for the t sounds, and needed and wanted for our id sounds. I made a list of words. I think you should pause the video right now. By yourself, decide, do these words belong in the d column, the t column, or the id problem? For example, we'll do the first one together. We have rain, rain. The last sound is n. N is voiced. If it's voiced, rain is pronounced rained with a duh in the back at the end. Pause the video, and in a minute, we'll do these all together. Okay, welcome back. We did rained. Next we have invite. T is a T, so it's invite, invited. Protect. Last sound is t, so protect, protected. Pick. K, k. Unvoiced, so picked, picked. Enjoy. Oi, oi. Enjoyed, enjoyed. Point. T, t. Pointed, pointed. Own, own, owned, own, owned. Repeat, repeated, repeat, repeated. Engineer, engineer. The last sound is so engineer, engineered. Play, played. Pass, passed. Call, called. Visit, visited. Wash, washed. Return, returned. Walk, walked. Bake, baked. Push, pushed. Pound, pounded. So why is this important? If you say something like push or pushed, people will probably understand you, but it's part of your accent. The important thing is really to understand what people are saying, and that if you hear the word washed, you know that it's done, it's over, and it's in the past. Sometimes, but not very often, a mispronunciation can make a different word. For example, we did lived, and we know that lived is the past of live. There's another word in English that we don't use very often, but the word is livid. Livid means very, very angry. So be careful. You don't want to say that you're livid when you mean that you lived. I hope this helps. I hope you have a great afternoon or day or morning, and I'll see you later.